Now let's talk about talent. How do you identify and recruit the world's best talent? Talent is the first step in anything that any super boss is ever going to do. You got to be able to identify great talent and recruit that talent. And in fact, you got to be a talent spotter. You have to always be on the lookout for talent. And this is one of the things, one of the hallmarks of all super bosses. They are always looking for where they could find somebody really, really capable, even in everyday life. So, I'll tell you a story. Ralph Lauren and his family were at a restaurant in New York, and they were having a nice, lovely dinner. And next to them at another table was another couple of people that they didn't know each other, but they ended up striking up a conversation, as sometimes happens during a dinner. And the woman that was sitting at the table next to Ralph and his family, she was dressed kind of really, really cool, really funky, and Ralph liked what she was wearing, liked how she kind of put the whole thing together. And so they were kind of talking periodically over the course of, an hour, hour and a half over dinner. And Ralph is really interested in her. And then Ralph and his family, Ralph Lauren and his family, get up to go. Dinner's over, and before as he's leaving, he says, he gives his business card to this woman. She had not actually recognized him at all, and said, and she looks at it. It says Ralph Lauren, and she's ready to fall off her seat. And Ralph says to her, "If you have a chance to come in the office tomorrow, that would be great, because I'd like to offer you a job." What about that? Finding talent in all kinds of you're always spotting talent. You're always on the lookout for talent. How often are we doing that? Are we alert to that? Are we looking for people in all kinds of unusual ways? It leads to some really powerful things. I'll give you another example. Bill Walsh, of course, the famous San Francisco 49er head coach, one of the most winningest coaches in all of the National Football League. He goes out to recruit a star quarterback at a college. And this star quarterback was going to be drafted, pretty high up, and he's throwing the ball to actually I think it was his roommate, who was also on the team but far from a star, and Bill Walsh is watching, and he goes back and he talks to the kid that's catching the ball, and next thing you know, when it comes to draft day, he actually drafts the kid that was catching the ball, the roommate of the star quarterback, and not the star quarterback himself, because he saw something. He saw a spark. And of course, you probably want to know who that receiver was. Well, if you're into American football, the name Dwight Clark might mean something. One of the most famous receivers in the history of the National Football League. Very, very successful, Super Bowl winner. That's how we found him. So it's an interesting notion in this modern era, an era of HR analytics and really sophisticated approaches and all kinds of fancy assessment tools. It's pretty impressive what's going on. I'm not against those ideas, but sometimes those ideas start to dominate over how we think, and as a result, we don't leave ourselves open to maybe more analog methods, which is to say, let's open our eyes, let's pay attention, let's always be on the lookout. The word mindfulness means a lot today. Many people are really focused on being mindful, being alert to what's going on around them, being attentive. Well, super bosses are actually pretty mindful. I didn't really talk a ton about that when I was doing the original research, but the more I talk to people about super bosses and the more I learn about mindfulness myself, the closer that connection becomes. These were mindful leaders. They were always on the alert, on the lookout for talent. And talent spotting is the first key thing you want to think about when we talk about talent.